Hey guys, Jared Balfour for 5thGenRams.com. We're out here in Whistler, British Columbia, testing out the Ram Rebel and the Ram Power Wagon. A few weeks ago, Ram Trucks invited myself and some other journalists out to Whistler, British Columbia to sample the 2019 Ram Rebel and the 2019 Ram Power Wagon off-road. And before we get this video started, I wanted to thank my friend Perry Mack from 4-Wheel Drive Magazine for sharing his footage with me. You can check out his channel and his website in the description down below. They do all kinds of off-road focused activities and truck reviews. So if you're into that, make sure you check them out as well. But for now, I hope you guys enjoy the video.
So Perry Mack, 4-Wheel Drive Magazine. I'm here with Jared
From Mopar Insiders and 5th Gen Rams.
All right, and we are driving the 2019 Ram Rebel.
Yep. Crew cab. Air suspension.
Hemi engine.
Yep.
5.7 liter Hemi. And we're off-road in the Callahan Valley in Whistler. And they've told us repeatedly not to wreck this truck. So I gather it costs more than I can afford.
We'll do our best to keep it in one place.
Yeah. So if you can tell by the bouncing around, some rocky terrain. I'm gonna go down a little steep section here. I'm gonna try that hill descent control.
Yeah, I found that it worked really well.
Well, for an old school guy like me, it kind of freaks me out, I gotta be honest.
It's an odd feeling, being off the brake, off the gas, and letting the truck do its thing, but...
Man, it's making a lot of noise.
Yeah, it is. I think we got the brakes a little wet, too.
Yes, there's a wee bit of water here.
This is actually a pretty nice course they're letting us play around in.
It is. So far not too extreme.
No.
But we're definitely off-road. You can probably tell from the video that we're getting bounced around inside the truck. And it's a lot of rocky terrain, not a lot of sand. A lot of rock and gravel.
We've got, so this is an off-road 2 mode right now, so as high as we can get. We're in 4 low. And the traction seems to be good. The Duratrack tires and the electronic locker are definitely doing the trick here.
Yeah, and actually the turning radius for a light-duty truck is pretty good.
I noticed that too, because some of these corners are pretty tight through here. And
yep.
Yeah, for a half-ton truck, it turns pretty tight, yep. Especially in 4 low.
No lockers engaged, but the truck does come with an electronic rear diff, locking diff.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's right. We don't have the rear locker on right now. I forgot about that.
Not that serious yet.
No.
The only thing it doesn't have, I shouldn't say the only thing it doesn't have, but what would have been nice is front locking diff, but the electronic sway bar disconnect. That would have been handy for an off-road truck.
So those are 2 things that they've got in the Power Wagon that I'm not sure why they haven't put in the Rebel.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't spend the money. They obviously have the technology.
Yeah, I mean, if the stuff's there, why not? And while you're at it, why not add a winch, the optional winch or something like that? Power Wagon's got it standard, make it an option on here.
I guess we're going to the aftermarket for that.
I guess so. That's why it exists.
Through the water hazard and up a little hill.
Yeah, this is a nice little kind of switch back here. So after we were done playing around in this little area with some water hazards, some little steep hills to test out the hill descent control, as well as some steep inclines, we continued up to the top of the mountain. Now, the interesting thing with this trail is that it's usually reserved for snowmobiles and ATVs, there's actually usually a large boulder about halfway up that was removed for the purposes of this media drive so that we could get to the top of the trail. Now, it wasn't a hardcore off-road course or high-speed off-road course, anything like that, but there were some nice little technical areas as long as some really steep switchbacks that both myself and my co-driver Perry were very impressed with how tightly these trucks actually turned. There was a lot of 90-degree bends going up the trail, and we didn't really have to reset the truck through any of them. We could usually make it through in one go. The one gripe that we both did have with the Rebel was the lack of a forward-facing camera system that's available on the Power Wagon. On some of the steep breakovers, it's really hard to see in front of you with the hood heights of these trucks, and having that forward-facing camera of the Rebel would be a very big plus for situations like that. That said, the truck performed admirably well, and I was very impressed with it on the drive up.
Yeah, you got it.
So we took the Ram Rebel up the mountain, and Ram fed us a nice lunch. We're now coming down and we're driving the Power Wagon, and this really solves one problem, Perry, that we've really had with the Rebel, right? And that's having the forward-facing camera. In these twisty sections, especially when you're coming up over crests, the hoods of these trucks are up so high, they're so large that seeing in front of yourself is quite difficult, and the camera is really a game changer there.
Absolutely, you really notice the difference. The Rebel going uphill, that was definitely an inconvenience not having the camera, but in the Power Wagon with that high hood, when we're braking over and turning at the same time, trying to miss rocks, trees, without that camera, you would definitely need a spotter.
Absolutely, I agree. You're going into a lot of stuff blind with the size of that hood.
Yeah. And just as a testament, with that camera, no spotter has told us to do anything other than what we've done.
Follow your line already, right?
Yeah.
It's nice because it also it shows you exactly where your tires are going to be, and it turns with the steering wheel, so you can really place a truck easily with this camera system.
And given it's a 3/4 ton, I actually don't feel a huge difference as far as turning radius, and we're still maneuvering all these same tight U-turns on the trail that we did in the Rebel.
Yep.
In a much larger truck.
Yeah, and it seems to ride about the same. I mean, obviously we're not talking about on-road ride here, we're getting bounced around, but this isn't a buckboard ride though either, right?
No, honestly, I'd have to say it's probably a better ride in the Power Wagon, which has a more of an off-road suspension. So
this is true.
We're not getting as bounced around as badly as we were in the Rebel.
That's true too. Right now we've got the front sway bar disconnected as well, because it does have that electronic sway bar disconnect, so that definitely helps.
Yeah, I like it. If I had to buy a Power Wagon or choose between Power Wagon and Rebel right now, I would buy the Power Wagon.
I agree with you, and like we were talking about a little before, I've never really thought of them as competitors, but the price point difference is crew cab to crew cab, $2,000 or something like that.
It is.
At that point,
yeah,
you really probably should be looking at the Power Wagon if you want the off-road capability and the tech features.
Yeah, I think really the only places where you're going to lose is if you are looking for a more fuel economy engine like a Pentastar.
That's right.
Or if you really want the Eco Diesel,
yeah,
then you have to go Rebel, because Power Wagon has one option.
Yeah.
4 doors and a 6.4 liter Hemi. Yeah, yep. And that's it. So take it or buy something else.
That's right. But the 6.4 did get the 8-speed automatic transmission for 2019, which should be a big improvement.
It has been in every other truck I've driven.
Has it? Yeah.
So since we're sitting here waiting for somebody to get organized, this is that camera system that we love so much, and so there's the forward camera view. I like the controls the way they're laid out. It's so super easy. It's right, you hit your surround camera, and you've got your everything that's around the truck view, plus the front cam, and it looks like we can actually change our front cam, rear cam view rear cam view. And then we've got nice ones here too. So backup camera, pointed right down at the ball if we had one.
Yeah, and it's even got the line to line your hitch up.
That's right. Cargo area, so make sure your load's still stable back there if you can't see out your back window.
That's especially, like, on my truck, I've got one of those hard folding tonneau covers.
Right.
When it's flipped up, you can't see anything out the back window. That would be a great view for a situation like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I find, you know, you've got your climate controls down the sides of the screen for both driver and passenger. Easy, intuitive to get to use. And you don't have to get into the soft controls to do it. So that's nice that they retain the hard controls there.
Yeah.
Nice driving.
Again, you know, the Rebel in front of us needed a 3-point turn, and here we're on a Power Wagon.
And did it in one shot, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's impressive. And even the trucks, they are really more differentiated for 2019 than ever. So the half-ton trucks got the all-new cab, whereas the 3/4 ton and 1 tons got basically a heavy refresh. They kept the old cab, got the new interior. It's very nice in here. And it's still roomy. It's not as roomy as the Rebel, right? You got that 3 inches longer cab, so more room in the back seat, and you don't have the flat rear floor in this as well. But it's still inside just as nice.
Well, I mean, really, they've stolen Rebel interior design. The dash, the steering wheel is very Rebel, just like the front grille is now.
Yeah.
The doors are still Power Wagon-ish from last year. But it's a nice layout. I like the dash, the 12-inch screen. I've always been a huge fan.
Yeah.
I know there's some guys who are like, what do you want, a Tesla? But honestly, having that massive screen for, like, even right now where we've got our front-facing camera going, and we can have everything else, it's like having twin screens.
Yeah, I think it's a great feature. I think the people that think it's a gimmick haven't used it yet to just really see what you can actually do with it.
Yeah, agreed. And then in addition to the mirrors, I also like the switches at the bottom that are manual. So turning off that parking sensor was super easy. Turning off the traction control, entering or engaging tow haul. And then I like the fact that the trailer brake is right there.
That's a really nice, convenient spot to use when you're driving.
Yeah. Things that people talk about and really they're almost basics. If you're gonna buy a truck and you want to go off-road, you'll end up modifying it to the essentials that this has. So the front tow hooks, the 12,000-pound winch, which is built in. Steel bumpers front and back, not plastic. The front and rear lockers. And the electronic disconnecting sway bar. That's a huge plus. You know, one of the things I noticed, they took some shots when we were taking the Rebel. They were all proud that they could get a wheel off in the air. That's not the idea.
No, you want all 4 on the ground for
exactly traction, right? We're looking for articulation. And I believe this truck has 26 inches of articulation top to bottom.
I believe that number sounds familiar. I'd have to double check it, but that
with
sounds
the sway bar
familiar.
disconnected. Yeah. So as far as a work truck, if you got to go off-road, forestry, mining, if you want to get to your fishing spot, and you know, and the other thing where I really look at this as being a winner is overland. You got a truck camper.
Oh yeah,
put on the back.
Excellent overlanding vehicle.
You know,
you could go anywhere for a factory truck. We're not beating this thing. I don't, in my opinion, not with that. It's the only thing you get with the winch, electronic sway bar disconnect in the truck segment. Anyways, I mean, that's some impressive stuff to throw on a truck. Just out of the factory. And the winch cable for 2019 is synthetic now instead of steel.
Anything to save some weight.
It saves 28 pounds, I believe they said in the presentation. So
which sounds about right. Then while you're rolling down this tight trail, we've added some wonderful pinstriping to the side, but there's I don't mind. I mean, I guess I've never had a dial shifter before, but it is easy once you get used to it, selecting park, rear, neutral, or drive. And I do like the fact that your axle lock, your hill descent control, engaging the differentials, one for rear and then one for front and rear, is right there at your fingertips. You don't have to search for it.
Yeah, everything's really, really close to your hand, which is really nice. This is a surprisingly maneuverable truck.
I'm shocked. Yeah. Like, I was worried actually that passenger tire, your side by the way, was going to go off the trail on that side, but yeah, it came right around, and
it did.
The camera doesn't lie. So let me ask you this, Jared. In your opinion,
yep,
who is this truck perfect for?
I think this is a perfect vehicle for an off-road enthusiast that still needs to have some payload and some towing capacity out of the box.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. It's out of the box.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go to the aftermarket and buy this and have this mounted in.
Exactly.
You know, you've already got the suspension left. I think there's 8 inches of ground clearance.
At the pumpkin, I believe, yeah. Yeah. But if you wanted to go to the aftermarket, you could and really make something out of it. But
yeah, exactly.
Out of the box, I think this is hands down the most capable truck you're going to get.
Yeah, and I, you know, originally when I first started looking at Power Wagons, I couldn't really see the advantage of this truck, because you do sacrifice payload and towing.
You do, yeah.
You know,
compared to a standard 2500, you end up at about half-ton kind of numbers, payload and towing wise. But of course, that's byproducts of the suspension changes.
Yeah.
So.
And I think mostly that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. They want to make it a little softer, so you do have some articulation. Try to keep all 4 tires on the ground. So you are going to give up some payload with that softer rear suspension, as well as towing due to ton weights and stuff like that. So
yeah. So if you want to tow a big trailer, this is not your 3/4 ton truck.
No. I believe this and the Rebel are like pretty much dead nuts on towing payload.
Within a few hundred pounds, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying your 1500, you've got the 8-speed transmission in it?
Yeah, so I've got that truck for about 3 years ago. I picked it up. It's got the 8-speed automatic, and I've got about 60,000 kilometers on it. And that is one of the best parts about these Ram trucks, is that 8-speed transmission. It's 3 years. It's always in the right gear. It's never stepped wrong, never given me any issues.
Yep.
And now that they've added it to the Power Wagon for 2019, I think that's really gonna help uncork that 6.4 Hemi too, because the gear ratio spacing was not good on the older 6-speed transmission in these things. So
now it's an 8-speed in the Power Wagon, but they actually did upgrade it, so it's 8-speed, but it's tougher and designed to handle the extra.
That's right. It's beefier.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're only really using first and second and crawling around, but can't really tell you how good it is, but I'm sure on road it's made a big difference. But
yeah,
sure, we'll get the opportunity for that at some point.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed compared to the Rebel is the steering feels quite a bit heavier in the Power Wagon, for sure.
So when you say heavier, what do you mean?
It feels, to turn the wheel requires a bit more force, and of course, because these are a solid front axle, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can tell, you can feel there's a little more play in the steering, is not as direct. But other than that, I mean, it steers well, and as you were taking it down the switchbacks, you weren't having a 3-point turn, some of that stuff, so it maneuvers really well.
It does.
For a big girl, she's pretty light on her feet, actually.
And then the other thing that we noticed is it doesn't have the telescoping steering wheel. So it will tilt, but yeah, if you need to bring it back to you, if you got longer legs and sit back a little bit farther, you're gonna have to reach forward.
Yeah, yeah. No option for that in the Power Wagon, unfortunately. And I think that's all part of, you know, since they kept the same cab for the heavy duties.
Overall, I was very impressed with both the Rebel and the Power Wagon on this off-road course. And while I'd never considered cross-shopping them prior to this day, now I feel that if you're looking at the Rebel and you're not looking at, say, the EcoDiesel or the Pentastar, which isn't available in Canada anyway, it might be worth a look at the Power Wagon for a little bit more money. You do get some more off-road features, such as the standard winch, the front locking diff, along with the sway bar disconnect and the surround view camera. So, the Power Wagon definitely deserves a look, but the Rebel is a great truck in its own right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.